All right, welcome to the Explainer. So, you're gearing up for that AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, right? And you've probably heard that the billing questions can be, well, a little tricky. Today, we're going to clear up the confusion around two tools you absolutely have to know: AWS Cost Explorer and AWS Budgets.
Look, on the surface, these two tools can seem pretty similar. A lot of people get them mixed up, and that's totally understandable. But here's the deal. Knowing the difference, and I mean really knowing it, is not just a nice to have for the exam, it's crucial. And honestly, it's even more important for managing real-world cloud costs. So, let's dive right in. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and I promise you'll walk away with the clarity you need to nail those billing questions on exam day. No sweat. Okay, first things first. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's take a step back and look at the big picture. These tools don't exist in a vacuum, you know? They're actually part of a much bigger framework for managing all your cloud finances.
So, AWS breaks down its financial management tools into 4 areas: plan, run, see, and save. And this is super helpful because it tells us exactly what each tool is for. You see Cost Explorer right there in the see category? That's because it's all about looking at what you've already spent, seeing the data. But then you've got AWS Budgets, which pops up in both plan and run. That's your clue that it's all about setting limits and proactively controlling your spending as it happens.
All right, let's meet our first tool. Think of AWS Cost Explorer as your own personal financial detective. Its one and only job? To investigate. It's the Sherlock Holmes of your AWS bill. Yeah, its whole reason for being is to help you look at the past. It's a reactive tool. It's all about looking backward to figure things out. So let's say your bill suddenly jumps up out of nowhere. Your first move isn't AWS Budgets, no way. You go straight to Cost Explorer to answer that one critical question: what happened and why? And check this out. This is what makes it so powerful for that detective work. Cost Explorer holds onto your cost data for up to 38 months. That's over 3 years of history. With that much data, you can spot long-term trends, see if you have seasonal spending spikes, and really truly get to the bottom of where your money is going. So, the key thing to remember? Cost Explorer is your go-to for deep dive analysis. You can slice and dice your data any way you want, by service, by project tags, by region, you name it. And it's not just about playing historian. It also gives you forecasts for the future, and even points out ways you could be saving money, like with savings plans. Okay, time to meet our second tool, AWS Budgets, and this one plays a totally different role. If Cost Explorer is the detective analyzing the crime scene, then Budgets is the security guard trying to prevent the crime from happening in the first place. It's the guardian of your wallet. You see, Budgets is all about being proactive. It's not for digging into data from last month. Its job is to look ahead, to put up guardrails, and to make sure you stick to your spending plan before things go off the rails. The key word here is prevention, not investigation. And it's really straightforward. It basically works in 3 steps. Step 1, you set a budget. A dollar amount, a usage limit, whatever. Step 2, you set up an alert. You tell it, hey, let me know when I hit, say, 80% of that budget. And step 3, which is really cool, is you can define an action. You can tell AWS to automatically do something when you cross that line. Now, this next part is super important, especially for the exam, so listen up. You've got to know the difference between an alert and an action. An alert is just a warning. It's a tap on the shoulder, an email, a chatbot message that says, hey, you're about to overspend. But an action, that's a response. It's the system stepping in to do something, like blocking someone from launching new servers or even automatically shutting down instances. An alert informs you, an action intervenes. All right, let's do a direct comparison, the showdown. If you're studying for that Cloud Practitioner exam, this next slide is your golden ticket. It's the ultimate cheat sheet. Seriously, if you're going to remember one thing, make it this. Cost Explorer is the analyst. It looks backward to answer, why did our bill go up? AWS Budgets is the guardian. It looks forward to say, stop, you're about to overspend. One is for insight, the other is for control. Simple as that. And here's a great way to think about it that'll stick in your head. Cost Explorer is your car's rearview mirror. You need it to see where you've been. AWS Budgets, that's your GPS. It sets your destination, your budget, and yells at you when you're about to take a wrong and expensive turn. So you're probably getting it by now. This isn't an either-or situation. You don't pick one over the other. The real magic happens when you use them together as a team.
Let me show you how that works.
Okay, step one. You always start with the detective, Cost Explorer. You go in there, you look at the last few months of data, and you figure out your baseline. Where is the money actually going? Is it EC2? Is it a specific project? You get the facts. Then, for step two, you take those facts and you bring in the guardian, AWS Budgets. Now that you know what's normal, you can set smart, realistic limits. You're not just guessing anymore. You're using data to set your guardrails.
Let's make this real. Imagine Cost Explorer shows you that your dev team's spending is spiking at the end of every month. Okay, you take that info, you pop over to AWS Budgets, and you create a specific budget just for that dev environment. Then you send an alert to ping the team lead when they hit 90% of that budget. See how that works?
And then what happens when that alert goes off? Where does the team lead go to figure out what's happening? You guessed it, right back to Cost Explorer to start investigating why they hit 90%. It's this continuous loop. Analyze, control, get alerted, and then analyze again. That, right there, is the heart of managing cloud costs well. Okay, let's boil this all down for the exam. This is the simple trigger and response you need to remember. If the question uses words like analyze, visualize, report on, or investigate historical spend, your brain should immediately scream Cost Explorer. But if you see words like alert, notify, enforce limits, or proactively control costs, that's AWS Budgets every single time.
So, there you have it. The analyst and the guardian. The detective and the security guard. Understanding that fundamental difference is everything. Now you've got the framework. As you're practicing, don't just memorize the names. Think about how you'd actually use this cycle. Analyze and control on a real project. That's what's going to make it stick. Good luck on your exam.